That's a really cool story. We're going to talk right now about how you are going to be able to calculate density. So in order to do this, I need you to find a calculator. I'm going to use the calculator on my cell phone. If you would like, you can use the calculator on your computer. I think you can go down here to the search bar and type in calculator, or you can use your cell phone, or hopefully somewhere in your house you have a calculator. So we're going to walk through a couple of these problems together, and then I'm going to turn you loose to solve the density of the problems below. So the first one says a cube of metal has a mass of 1,350 grams and displaces 540 milliliters of water when immersed. So what is the density of the metal? So in order to figure this out, we have right here, we have our formula written. So the formula is density equals mass divided by volume. Okay, so that's going to be a super important formula for you to remember because that's how we're going to figure out all of these problems. Density equals mass divided by volume. So we're going to fill in, well, actually it's already done for us here. We've got our mass first. Well, how do we know that that's the mass? Well, number one, it says it has a mass of right here, so that kind of gives it away. Even if it didn't say that, we would still know because this gram right here is a unit of mass. So we know 1,350 grams is the mass, and the volume, you kind of saw that in the video, the displacement method, that's going to be the volume right here of the cube of metal. So we could plug in our mass and our volume into our formula and then do the math. So when we put this into our calculator, it's very important that you put it in the correct way. So your mass is always going to be first and your density is always going to be second. So that's kind of hard for you to see. Let me see if I can hold it just right. Okay, here we go. So we're going to type in here 1,350 and then divided by 540. That's going to equal 2.5. So they've already got it right here. And I want you to notice something else. So we're not just in math class where you can bounce numbers around and call it good. We're in science class. So these things right here, these are called units, and they are very important. So science has a lot of math in it. But the things that make us understand what is happening with this math are these units. So when you're doing these problems, I need you to use the units. Don't just go throwing numbers around, okay? So we have 1,350 grams divided by 540 milliliters. Our answer that we got on the calculator was 2.5, and all we have to do is drop both of these units down and put the slash in between them, okay? So when we read this, I'm going to say 2.5 grams, and then the slash is going to be per, and then I'll say milliliter. So the answer is density equals 2.5 grams per milliliter, okay? So this is science. This isn't just math class. Okay, so we're going to use those units and we're going to speak correctly. So that slash right there, how are we going to say that again? Per, exactly. So 2.5 grams per milliliter. All right, let's look at this second one here. Let me get my lights to turn back on. Come on, guys. All right, so our question is 216 grams of salt has a volume of 100 centimeters cubed. What is the density of salt? So we've got 216 grams and we've got 100 centimeters cubed. So if you remember from our vocabulary, a centimeter cubed is the same thing as a milliliter, only it's using a square centimeter. So don't let that throw you off. This cm is centimeters, and that 3 right there, if you're in algebra or pre-algebra, you might be looking at exponents. That is really loud. You might be looking at exponents and you would know that 3 we would say as cubed. So centimeters cubed is how we say this right here. Now, let's look right here. We have our formula, D equals mass divided by volume. So we need right here our mass, okay? So our mass is 216 grams. So we know that's the mass because grams is a unit of mass, okay? So I'm going to write 216 and a G for grams. We need our volume. Our volume is going to be 100 centimeters cubed. So I'm going to put 100 centimeters cubed right here. Okay, so don't forget the label. This worksheet right here says, I'm going to say unit. Okay, they say label, I'm going to say unit. Okay, so if we plug this into our calculator, let me get this up here where y'all can see it. I'm going to clear that off, and we need 216 divided by 100. That's going to equal 2.16. So I'm going to write that down. 2.16, and then remember we're going to grab our units and we're going to bring them down. So I'm going to have a gram and then a per centimeter cubed. So cm cubed. So our answer to number 1 here is 216 grams per, 2.16 grams per centimeter cubed. Okay, so on your own, I'm going to let you go answer the rest of the questions on this form right here. Okay, your form I created from this worksheet. Let me back up a little bit so you guys can see it. So your form I created on this worksheet. From here, I put all the questions in there exactly how you would see here. So if you were sitting in my class today, you would have this worksheet sitting in front of you instead of the form. You're virtual, so you've got the form instead. But I want you to have a piece of notebook paper. And every time you do one of these questions, I want you to set it up exactly like we did right here. I want you to write down your formula, density equals mass divided by volume. And then I want you to set it up, D equals, and then give yourself a line and another line. And then I want you to have your answer right here. When you're finished with that, if you want to send me a picture of your worksheet, I'm going to give you a little bit of extra credit for that, okay? I want to see a picture of your notebook paper where you showed all of your work, just like this right here, okay? If you email me, I've got extra credit for you. So I'm going to let you work these by yourself. And then make sure you watch the video at the bottom because we're going to talk all of these questions through together, okay? Y'all are amazing. If you have any questions, remember to email me or ask in the questions channel. We'll see you guys in just a few minutes at the bottom.